And welcome back. Now, the Fort Calata Foundation has expressed disappointment at the National Prosecuting Authority, and this for missing its own promised December the 2nd deadline for a decision on prosecutions for the kidnappings and murder of the Cradock Four. So, to get more on this, we're joined on the line now by Lukhanyo Calata, who is spokesperson for the Fort Calata Foundation, and of course also the son of Fort Calata. Lukhanyo, good to speak to you again. Good morning. I hope it was I would wish that it would be under better circumstances and saying something positive, because it always seems like we are bemoaning, decrying what is not happening.
Sakina, good morning. And yes, I agree with you. I wish I was talking to you under different circumstances myself. You know, on Wednesday, we were preparing statements ahead of the expected announcement by the NDPP. And, you know, we prepared a statement. You saying, well, we're very happy that the NDPP has made this decision. You know, it's been a long time coming, And then we also prepared a statement that said, oh, well, you know, it's quite frustrating that, you know, the NDPP hasn't given us this decision. But this one, we did not expect. We did not expect that the NPA and the NDPP would just simply ignore us and not come back to us and miss and ignore their own deadline. I mean, it's so frustrating. It's infuriating. You know, what happened was that they didn't even have the decency to come back to us yesterday and explain to us what was happening. It was our lawyers that had to reach out to them, to the NDPP's office and ask, hey, guys, have you forgotten what's happening? And this was late in the day. And then they were like, oh, well, you know, could you guys indulge us with more time? And it's like, it's just so completely unprofessional what is happening within the NPA and the NDPP's office. And we're really, really disappointed and quite infuriated with their lack of care for us.
So, Lukhanyo, perhaps just to bring everybody up to speed regarding what this particular deadline was for, let's just take a few steps back. As you pointed out, you know, this was a date set by them, but what exactly is it about?
So on the 20th of July, Sakina, we went to court asking the court to compel the NDPP to give us a prosecutorial decision as to when they are going to, when and if they are going to prosecute, you know, the suspects linked to the murders of the Cradock Four. Now, among those suspects that, you know, was former President F.W. de Klerk. And he subsequently died, as you know, without ever being held accountable for his role in the murders of the Cradock Four. So, and what had happened is that the NPA then said, look, instead of us going to court, we're happy to try and you know, talk to you guys and reach some kind of settlement, some kind of deal, and let's do this outside of going to court. Then we thought, oh, okay, they want to engage, let's work with them. You know, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and work with them. But then they just started ignoring deadlines and missing deadlines and whatever. So we then wrote to the deputy judge president in Gauteng, Justice Obrile Dwaba, asking him to please, you know, take this matter under case management, because it seems the NPA is just acting out of complete contempt for us as families. The judge did that. We've had 2 meetings with the deputy judge president, and the NPA, you know, had said to the deputy judge president that, look, we will give a final decision on the 2nd of December. That came yesterday, it went yesterday, and the NPA just simply ignored it.
So you speak of F.W. de Klerk, who passed away recently, and, you know, in speaking to some of the other apartheid-era victims' families, there seems to be, you know, a perception that this is going to be the modus operandi from the state going forward, that they will drag this on as long as possible and wait for people to die, and then this will just miraculously go away. F.W. de Klerk, as you mentioned, was one of the people, but F.W. de Klerk was never charged.
He wasn't. Sakina, I hope that I don't get to have this conversation with you in, in the not too distant future, because Adrian Flock is very sick. We know that he is old, and Adrian Flock, in an interview that he did with an international news agency, where he was asked about what he understood about the term permanent removal from society, he admitted that as far as he knew, while they never used the word kill, he knew that the term remove permanently from society meant to kill. So Adrian Flock also knew quite a lot about what was going to happen to my father and his comrades. Yet he never did anything to try and stop it. And he was actively involved in the planning of the Cradock Four murders. Now, if what happens, he's going to die soon too because he's sick. Why does the NPA not act and charge him as soon as possible for his role in the murders of the Cradock Four? Sakina, it is clear. It is clear that the ANC, working in cahoots with the Office of the National Director of Public Prosecutions, have interfered to stop the prosecutions of TRC-related cases. And I don't know why the ANC has done that. I don't know. De Klerk died without ever telling us why they had gone into this deal. But it is clear, abundantly clear, that there is a deal here, and that is to stop prosecutions and to allow all of these apartheid-era murderers, the people who committed crimes against our humanity, to die off without ever being charged. And then, if that happens, if all of the suspects that are remaining die within, the Cradock Four suspects die, we will sue the state for dereliction of duty. We will have no other option but to sue them for not having done their work.
And, to that point, people dying, there are, of course, others as well in the case of the Cradock Four. You mentioned Adrian Flock. There was Craig Williamson, Joffel van der Westhuizen, Barend du Plessis. All of these people, do you know where they are? And also speaking to this deal, F.W. de Klerk, I think, did make mention of it, if it wasn't earlier this year, that there was a deal. And just in terms of getting to the bottom of that, are you pursuing that at all, Lukhanyo?
All right, Sakina, a couple of questions that you've asked there. I'm going to try and answer them all. Yes, we are pursuing a deal or the investigation into this deal. And we understand that there is, an inquiry coming that's looking into what's happening at the NPA and why it is that they've never prosecuted these things. We'd like that inquiry to be public so that we can understand what deals were made and why those investigations never continued. So, yes, we are pursuing the matter of the deals between the ANC and former apartheid operatives. Secondly, yes, we know where most of the suspects are. People such as Joffel van der Westhuizen, for instance, he lives out in Gansbaai. I think Craig Williamson is in Gauteng. I think it is in Johannesburg. Flock, obviously, Klerksdorp, I think. But yeah, so these people are there. We know where they are. It's easy to trace them. And it's shocking, actually. There's the state of the investigation by the NPA, and the fact, for instance, that we've had to track down where Joffel van der Westhuizen is, and we've given that information to the NPA to say, here, go and speak to him, go and get a statement from him, so that at some point, when you make a decision, you on whether or not you are going to prosecute him, you have his details here. Here it is. We gave it to them. But yeah, I think the NPA is just a complete mess, and we're very saddened by by the state of things. And therefore, we've got no option. We really have got no option but to, resume litigation, take them to court, so that if they miss another deadline that is then set by the court, they can be held in contempt.
Lukhanyo Calata, thanks so much for your time, and please keep us posted on the developments. And Lukhanyo Calata is the spokesperson of the Fort Calata Foundation and the son of Fort Calata, who's of course one of the Cradock Four, alongside Matthew Koniwe, Sperom Konto and Stelom Tlauli. So that's where we'll leave that one for the time being, and perhaps also worth getting a response from the NPA on this matter as to why they actually missed this deadline.